Oh, yeah. There we go.
This is Dan, Marcus, if you haven't met.
Hey, Marcus, how you going?
Always good.
Always good. That's good to hear, mate.
Marcus is a winner. You can see in the back. He's a winner.
That's right, exactly. A current winner as well, too, not just a winner.
Yeah.
He's, he's the 2018 winner.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's 2018, but it's only 2018 for another month and a half. So what's going to happen? Is this just going to be obsolete in next year?
I would put 2018/19.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, you know what you could do? You could just shift your head a little bit to your left. There you go, and then there you go. Then a little bit higher, and then you're just still a winner. There you go.
You're only a winner, though.
There you go.
No, I think it's great. So, Dan, you've been starting to try and set up a chat box.
Yeah, you know what? And I was struggling with it a little bit because I got it to work, but if I'm honest, I don't know how I got it to work, and so I think it was a happy accident, and it was pulling responses from everywhere, but it was sort of working because I got some bookings out of it, but. Last night I sat myself in front of the training program that runs for like 10 hours, and I started about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and I went till about 9:30, 10 o'clock last night, and it's clicked now. I feel very confident now that I know exactly why things come up the way that they come up, and some of the bits and pieces that we could do to try and extract information to filter people as well, even because it allows you to extract information. Marcus, you probably already know this, but you can extract information from Facebook after you have them as a subscriber.
I didn't know that.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
So what you can do is in the questions, you can create what you call variables, or it's like a token. So I created ones that are called. I'll explain this first. Right, I created an email one and a number of kids, and do you want a gallery? Right. So these are just questions. It's a container, if you like, right? And each one of those questions has a tag. One's called email, one's called kids, one's called gallery, right? And then when you ask a question, in the question itself, you can say, for example, how many kids do you have, right? And then you associate the answer to the kids token. So that then when you run your report, you say, give me families that are only have, say, more than 4 kids, right? So that you start building a sort of like a mailing list, but then you can specify just send this message, because you can send messages from within ManyChat, right? You can do what you call a broadcast, but it goes into the message, the Facebook message, rather than go through email. It pops up on their message thing, right? But you can send, do you have a large family? And you can have that message go out to, if you've got, say, more than 4 kids.
So it's not necessarily extracting it from Facebook's database. You're just getting it from them. You have to ask the question, right?
Yeah, you can ask them. There are some, once you've got them as a subscriber, there are things that Facebook shares that you can also extract without asking them.
Oh, like what?
Yeah. There's, you know what? I'll get you guys the actual list of variables that you can get.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting, actually. I got really excited about that because if you start creating a subscriber list that's maybe, say, 1,000 people, right? You can send specific Facebook messages in bulk, right, to just the people that match the criteria that you set up, right? I mean, you could have, like, if you've got 1 kid, you could send a message that's specifically worded around having 1 child, or whatever, and you could put, like, hello, and then first name, and it automatically populates that, right? So so it's really personalized. So
Well,
it's
trust you, you, Dan, coming from an IT background, not to make it simple.
yeah, true. There you go. So, you know what? In the end, it will make sense, at least to me, anyway, right? So,
Yeah, no, it makes sense. There's just, it's such a rabbit hole, that ManyChat thing.
Oh man, it's like, yeah, I couldn't get my head around it. I mean, I understand the concept. When I got in front of the interface, I just had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't find it intuitive at all. I just looked at it and I'm like, where do you start? There was nowhere to start, right? And even the help function, like, where do I go to even find out where to start? I couldn't figure that out. And eventually, you know, on Facebook groups and stuff, and someone's gone, look, go here, right? And this is whole education system hidden away in one of their blog sites. So if you guys, if you want, I'll share that. I'll share that link with you guys, and it's separate to ManyChat in a sense because you have to create a separate login to the blog section than you do to use the actual ManyChat application. The same account doesn't work. But once you, yeah, I know, see, like, it's just stuff like that, right? It's just, but then eventually when you're in there, there's a wealth of information on how to set things up and videos, very well done. They're just hidden away. That's all.
All right, we put that on in a circle, Dan.
Yeah. I'll put it up there. And it talks about this course, and I haven't finished it yet. Obviously, I'm only about halfway through it. But it talks about the first half of it is technical, how to set it up, and then the second half is a little bit more psychology, how you should be structuring your questions, because they're saying, for example, small bits of text come up rather than big chunks of text, and no more than typically two bits of text before you ask them a question or you get them to click on something.
Yeah.
So rather than keep, blip, 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 message, after two at the most, you stop, you ask them something, and then you continue giving them information. But essentially, it's like keeping them online as long as possible, and they feel like they've had an actual conversation with someone in there, and then it's got things like how you can make the bot respond if they type something that you haven't sort of programmed in there, right? The type's really weird, right? And you can say, okay, if that happens, then go down this flow and feed them this sort of conversation thread, right? And eventually you can end up with a little button that says request to talk to a human, right? So, and at that point, you can get. Pardon?
You've run an ad with this, with a flow sequence.
Yeah. So,
what was your numbers? Let's talk numbers.
No, he's only just.
So this is the first one that I ran was just a bit of a test, right? And but I didn't have the ManyChat thing set up properly. My questions were rubbish, and it's just it kind of worked. I think I got something like it was tiny, right? I think we got about 4 or 5 bookings out of it, but but I think that's because the questions weren't engaging or anything. But I think the conversion was 60% from everyone that I went on to say, 6 bookings. So maybe that's like the 10 people actually clicked on it. But one of the problems, exactly right. So if the way that I'm looking at it, if I just raise the level of engagement in the questions and the content and the ad and all that sort of stuff, right, that should be scalable theoretically.
Yeah. Right? Well, it sounds like it is scalable already.
Right. Considering that in Australia we're getting absolutely smashed with Facebook in a bad way because I think it's grown a little bit too quickly and it's grown. I don't know. In relation to the rest of the world, I think we've got way more ads than we have people. So now the competition for getting your ads up there, the boosted post for us has just taken a nosedive. I mean, we were flat out last year, and this year, struggling.
Yeah, we are a bit of a testing ground, and I know that in places here like Geelong and in Tassie, they are testing out local Facebook. So they're localizing it into the area. which is a good idea. But you can imagine, um, can you see what their plan is though? If they localize it, how much money they can get if they start getting advertisers on board, knowing that you're just going to your local audience.
I mean, I guess you're going after the local papers as well, aren't you? Because all of that stuff.
Well, if you've got a local, let's suppose, you know, there was a Wilmington Facebook set up by Facebook. Think how many people would want to advertise and promote in that, as well as all local people and whatever. It's the community, and that's what Facebook is about, and it's sort of lost that. So it's doing some testing here in certain areas before they sort of roll it out. But I've, you know, whether it gets destroyed or not, Facebook eventually, I don't know. I mean, it's the same with Chatbot. I believe it's got less than a 12-month life before everybody's using it, and we'll all get sick of receiving things on Messenger.
Yeah, I agree. I think though, I'm counting on on people's addiction to this stuff though. If this one goes away, something else will
come back. Yeah.
I think so. Something will fill the hole, right? Because people are addicted to this stuff. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter of keeping up to, which is, it's bad, but it's also good for us in a way for business, right? Because, you know, I guess you can always count on human nature to, you know, need this stuff, and we just have to keep an eye out on where they're going. If they're not going to Facebook, where are they going? And then just moving over to that, you know, whatever platform that is.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's going to happen, you know, whether we use it or not. So you just ride the wave.
The thing is, we've got no control over it. So whatever they do. We have to work around and not. I think what you're, I'm still not totally convinced, Dan, about what you say and the usage and the about the integration of ManyChat and Facebook and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's great because you're the tester.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, and I've been to a lot of seminars and workshops on all sorts of things like Facebook, and most of the speakers and most of the information we hear is really based on bigger companies, like that spend hundreds of thousands on Facebook and whatever, and they need all these analytics and every little twist and turn because they're spending so much money. They need to know, they need to tweak, and very fine tweaking can make a difference. I sort of think we're pretty small fish. You know, we're such small solopreneurs, one-man businesses. Do we need to go that deep is what I'm saying. And I've sort of said that all along with the ad that I created, you know, 3 years ago, the Wanted. People keep trying to change that, and there's no need to change it. If it's working, in most cases, it's still working.
Yeah, no, totally. Look, I totally agree with you. From my perspective, the bot, the analytics behind the ManyChat bot stuff is useful if you've got some significant numbers. But I was thinking from a perspective of, did someone buy or didn't buy, or at what point did we lose them in the conversation? Because in the analytics, it can also show you that.
You need that. You definitely need that, where they actually don't continue forward. If there's a blockage there, you have to come up with a new question or just delete that part. But I think that's the only thing that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, I think the number of kids might actually be useful as well. Because if you're I'm thinking of you know, like, say for example, you know, let's say you get families that have like 5 kids plus, right? Which, you know, happens, right? So you know, maybe the studio in your home thing could be a good target for them because, logistically probably a pain in the ass to have to drag 5 or 6 kids to a studio or to a park or somewhere where you could just go to their house. So I was just sort of thinking like, in that sort of space, how we could use some of these things, but also extracting the email address as well, for adding them into the, if they don't want to give you the email address, once they've subscribed, you can get that out of Facebook, right? So it's about sort of engaging them to get a little bit more information, right? Early days, right? Like I said, I've only gotten about halfway through the course, and in a practical sense, I know I can get really excited about some of these data analytical stuff that doesn't really apply to us, but it's I think there's a couple of little gems that we probably can use.
Well, we've got to learn. But the thing with Chatbot, the simple thing about it, in business, taking people from a cold lead to a warm lead to a hot lead is a process, right? And what Chatbot does, because it's a messenger, it's like, all these Russian girls that keep contacting me and sending me photos. I would feel.
Oh, right, okay, I thought it was just me.
So if I'm on a chat to them, right, I'm getting excited. I'm starting to get visual more than if I'm just sending them an email. And I think that's what we have to try and do with our questions on Chatbot is they think they're talking to a person. So we've got to give them some vision, and we've got to give them some involvement in the questioning. And I think the questioning is the key. They've got to be very strategic, and they've got to just suck us in and get us excited, as you would, when you talk to these Russian ladies, Dan. It's what the questions they ask you can get you really excited, right? So, and that's all we're trying to do, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's the difference between, a small heater and a big open fire, right? You can warm people up very quickly with a big open fire, and they can get excited and it's a different thing. So I think that's why it's good. I think it'll be the best thing when it's already proven with 1 or 2 photographers. I know, Warren's only started it, and he's getting a lot of inquiry through it, and there's things happening, and it's good.
I know you said you tweaked his flow a bit. I know you tried to contact him last week. Is he willing to share his flow?
I'm just wondering when I speak to him. I'll be speaking to him or have I spoke to? No, I'm sure he would. Yeah, but I set a flow up yesterday with Dan, which I thought was good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dan, I took this course from PhotoBizX, the Ian Sim course. Have you seen this?
I don't think I've seen that one actually. No.
It's called Nice Chat, Let's Book.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what drew me in was what's included is a downloadable, installable template of a flow.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Pre-populated questions, timing, all that stuff, all good to go. And it's for a family portrait session, which in my experience makes the most money. So I was all over. So, and obviously it also showed you the logistics of how it all works and everything. So it was about 5 or 6 hours worth of videos, and I knocked that out in a couple of days, and it looks good. But I had Bernie look at the flow, and he, I guess it's the same as James's flow. So he must have taken the course too. But I'm eager. James had really good success with an ad, I think, recently, right, Bernie?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I'd love to see what tweaks James did to his. But that being said, I haven't run my own ad yet, and I'm going to do it today, starting today.
Well, so why don't you go through the questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Should I share screen or not?
No.
Okay.
It's all right. My 9 o'clock appointment, which is Amy in New Zealand, has just messaged me. She's at a a one-day workshop, so we've got time.
Okay.
So let's do it.
All right. Just logging in. So what am I doing? Families.
What do they have to put as the word to start the bot?
I don't know. I don't. Whatever. I
Fam-
don't have that set yet.
Okay, we'll make it families.
Sure. Okay.
Put the
Families.
word families in the comment in the comment below.
Yep. So they do that. Then they get a message that says, "Hey, first name or full name, whatever. Thanks for getting involved. I'd love to send you a few questions."
Just a sec. One thing I've
Okay.
suggested with James and with Dan is it says, "Hi Jane," which is there. James here, Marcus here. I think you should introduce yourself.
Okay.
I know in many chat terms they don't like you to do that because they want you to, well, how can I put this? They don't want the other person to think that this is a person. But anyway, we're not going to worry about that at this stage.
All right.
As I say, no one's successful if they stick to the rules, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all right. Marcus here. Thanks for getting involved. I'd love to send you a few questions and some info via Messenger to see if we're a good match for this project.
Hang on.
To get started.
Why do you need to be a good match?
Well, I know why, so that I can see if they're time wasters or not.
Well, what does match mean? Why can't you just talk normally, is what I'm saying. You wouldn't normally say that, would you? Hey, let's get together and see if we got a match. You'd say what?
No,
It's
right.
It's
No,
a bit creepy. So why can't you say, can I ask you a couple of questions?
All right. Hey, Marcus, dude, thanks for getting involved. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions
That's it?
on Messenger?
Well, you're talking on Messenger anyway. Can I ask you a couple of questions?
You mind if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, that's it. Yes,
You're
no. Sure. No, I think it's sure or
So this is the auto response. So that I don't have an ability to have a yes, no, multiple choice, any button right now. This is just to confirm that they actually want to move forward with the process. What it is, it's like a fail-safe. So if somebody just comments, it kicks off the bot, and so we don't want people just commenting, like tagging their friends, and then not wanting to move forward with it. You know what I'm saying? So this is sort of that buffer.
no, I don't. Because it'll only start the bot if they put the word in comment.
Right. Hold on. Let me go back.
So from a ManyChat and Facebook, I guess, I don't know if it's a legal requirement or not, but when you when the user, you've got your ad and the client or the user types a comment, it kicks off the bot.
Yeah.
And there's a requirement for the bot to ask them a question, and then they have to type an answer.
Yeah.
And then legally now they are subscribed. You're allowed to continue now with the bot.
Right.
So otherwise we can get into trouble.
And you do have to tell them later, you have to give them the opportunity to unsubscribe.
Yes, you do, right? So there is like for example, let me just do a sample one, right? So, hey Marcus, this is Dan from Capture Photography. Thanks for getting in touch. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? If it's all good, just type in yes.
That's
right?
it.
And then you type in yes, right?
Yep.
and then from that point, we can do whatever we want. Let's subscribe, right? And then you respond with something like, "Cool, no worries. By the way, if you ever need to stop, just type in stop, and I'll go away or something, whatever." But then at that point, you can just continue. There needs to be that that acknowledgement, I guess, that it's okay for me to talk to you, and if you want me to stop, you just type in stop, and I'll go away.
Actually, I think I made a mistake. I think I've got Warren at 9, but that's okay. We can keep going because I'll try and get him in the group. I'm just inviting Warren into the group. Hi, Warren. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're good. Can you see us all or just one?
I got 2. I don't see Bernie.
Oh, no. I've
Hey, how's it going, Marcus?
Good.
I can see Warren. Hi, Warren. I'm Dan.
Hey, Dan. Nice to meet you.
You too.
So Warren, do you want to continue with this? We're just talking about the ManyChat.
Oh, yeah.
We're going for
Then the flow. So we're just going through. We're just going to go through with Marcus some sort of flow to get it happening.
I just got mine going, I think, but I don't think it's completely working.
You have a broken link, do you?
What's that?
You have a broken link.
Oh, it seems to be responding to people, like asking them questions, but I don't know if Calendly is linked in correctly. So, just trying to figure that out.
Let's just go through this, Marcus, quickly. I'll just make some suggestions. You might put them down, and then you might, yeah. So the word is going to be families.
Yeah, so that's another thing. The course that I took, the guy said that Facebook used to be totally fine with type X word below and we'll kick off the chat or the bot. But now I guess they're sort of penalizing posts that have the same comment over and over and over again and not showing it to as many people.
Why are you listening to people? Why don't we just do this?
Well, they had the experience before, I don't want to...
Yeah, but they're not photographers and they're not micro business owners. This is the problem I find. Everybody throws something, a little hump in the road, and you go a different way. Why can't we just go over the hump and just continue on a straight track? Otherwise, we're going to be going meandering all over the joint.
This guy is a photographer. He
Well,
shoots families.
Yeah, I know, Ian, and so I used to coach him. So, so it doesn't matter, is what I'm saying.
All right.
The idea is to do it our way. We know what it's about. We don't have to, I don't know how successful he is. I haven't, if he could give me his numbers, I'd say do exactly what he says. But I know he's what he is, all right. So let's follow our path.
Okay, families kicks off the bot.
We know Facebook is not kind to us, but we're gonna not worry about it. The ugly beast, we're gonna confront it. All right. So we're gonna get the bot going.
Yes.
Families.
Yep, families. Great. Hey, first name, whatever. Thanks for getting in touch.
Marcus
Mind if I
here.
ask you some
Marcus
questions?
here.
Type yes, no.
Is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions?
Uh-huh.
And then a yes. So they tick yes.
Yep.
And then we ask them the questions. What's the first question you've got?
First question is not a question. It's a sentence. It says, great. I promise it will be quick and easy. First up, here's a bit of info about us and what we're doing.
Why?
Introduction.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of sentences. We've been photographing families in Wilmington for 4 years, specialize in fun images, full of life. Portrait sessions will all be held at my state-of-the-art downtown Wilmington studio over the next 2 to 3 months. Does that sound like something you'd like to be involved in?
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
please, no.
Yes. No.
Yes, no, exactly.
Yep, and I go yes.
Yes, fantastic. Main reason for doing this is to build up a collection of images that showcase family members' unique personalities, not just a bunch of clones wearing white button-downs and khakis. This is what I tell people on the phone, so this is successful.
Yeah.
Your family is selected. We like to use the images on our social media and website. Do you mind if we make you a tiny bit famous? Yes or no?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yes, sure. Okay, first question. And these are the questions you told me to delete, but which word best describes your family? Sporty, casual, fun, or silly? So these next two questions have no consequence.
Okay, we don't need that. How many children? Right. How many children are in the family?
Okay.
Multiple choice. 1 to 2.
3 or more.
Or 3 or more.
All right. How many children? Okay.
Right. What's the next question you've got?
If selected, this can be a great opportunity to get the whole family photographed. Who would you like included in the session?
Well, obviously it's going to be the whole family, so we don't need to ask.
Yeah, that's true. For a family, yeah. All right. So if this was just for kids or a senior or something else, that'd be a legit question to ask. Do you agree?
If it was just kids?
Yeah, just so you can get the whole family instead of just, never mind.
I know what you're saying. And when I photograph kids, when you target. I mean, I've been thinking back, of my career, and when I photograph kids, I didn't try and get the family in. I photographed kids.
Yeah, me too.
So that's a different target. We're trying too hard to complicate this simple thing about photographing people and extracting money from the pocket. It's as simple as that. I'll take your photo, you give me money. That's why I'm a professional. I get paid for photographing you. So let's think of something else we can ask. We could ask them how old the oldest is. Or we don't have to if we've got 3. It doesn't matter, does it, really? If they've got 2 kids, it doesn't really matter. We know that 2 kids or 2 kids are better than 3, 3 kids are better than 2, 4 are better, whatever, because it means that they're grown up, that there's more, they've finished the family. Don't we want the best target is the family that's finished? They're not going to have any more kids, right? End of story.
Yeah.
Because then there's no excuse. It's sale time to say, oh no, well, we'll wait till we have another baby because we haven't finished the family yet. Yeah, right. Why didn't you tell me that? So, okay, so that's good. So where are we now? What other questions could we ask that are relevant, strategic?
The only question I have now is, how many children do you have? The next question I have is, would you like the opportunity to purchase prints for yourself after the session?
I don't like that.
I think it's a little too soon.
Why can't we ask him something, the same question, but put it differently? Why can't we say, would you like to see the photographs that are taken?
Did you say when? Or just
would you like to see all the photographs that I take?
Okay.
And they say yes. And then you say, if you get excited, or you could say some people get excited and want to buy some images. Would you like me to give you some idea of cost? Let's just try this for a flow and see what happens anyway.
So what was that last question, Bernie? About if you want to buy some photos?
I've forgotten. Marcus has just written it down.
I got it. Some people get excited and want to buy some of the images. Would you like to get an idea of cost?
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then your reply is you give them some idea of cost, like you would on the phone. So what, Marcus, would you say on the phone?
I would say, there's no obligation to purchase anything at the viewing session, but just as a general guide, clients in my studio on average are spending between $700 and $1,500 on their portraits. Some spend more, but obviously the only time you can decide is when you see the photos.
Well, that'll do, won't it? And then say, how does that sound?
Yeah, on the phone I would say, how does that sound? Here, sound good? Yes or no?
Or
Sound okay?
No, how does that sound? Great, no problem. Or what would say? No, sounds good. Or what's the alternative? Sounds good. No, thank you.
Or sometimes what they say is, I'm good, thank you, which means I'm not interested.
Yeah. So give them a choice to get out of it. And if they continue.
What this guy was saying in the course also is when they opt out, they go like the no thanks, to still interact with them a little bit more. So one of the things that, and we spoke, I had a think about what we talked about yesterday, was the fact that we're offering a $100 credit as part of the promotion, is to have a response including that, saying if they say no thanks, and you could respond with like, don't forget there is a $100 credit also that you could use towards that, bringing the price down to whatever.
Yeah,
so
we've
saying,
we've got to throw that in. So somewhere you've got to say in your pricing, there's no obligation. You do get $100 credit towards anything or whatever. All right. That's in the pricing.
What do you think is a good alternative to, how does that sound? Sounds good.
Not sure.
What's the other? Not sure.
Maybe it's not.
No thanks. How does that sound? No thanks.
All right. And then no thanks. I mean, that's sort of.
I'm out of here. You're scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. All right.
Just keep it really clear, right? Just say, yes, I'd love to know, or no thanks.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, let's do it, or something. Yes, let's do it, or no thanks.
Okay. So the next thing in the flow is a little carousel, like a little swipe of products. Remember I showed you that?
Yeah.
Do you think that's wise to include still? It does kind of it could get the right customer excited.
I don't mind something to break up the chat.
Right.
So. So would that come after the price, or would it come before the question of price, or after?
Well, the way this has it is, would you like the opportunity to purchase prints after the session? And if it's yes, then it says you don't need to purchase to be eligible, but it's a good idea, you know, here you go. And then it shows them. So it's a photo, and then underneath it says what it is, like matted print collections start at X. So it's a bit of a different approach. That's when they learn the prices.
Oh, right. So instead of giving them what you said, you know, most people spend 700 to 1,500, you just show them a little slide thing. I found with that, with James's in testing, I could swipe the whole thing across and I couldn't get it back. So on my phone, we could try it without it. Just keep going. I mean, we've done all this before with an email. It's nothing new. It's just we're doing it in this warmer form, a more rapid response, really.
Yeah.
I would like to know if they've seen the website.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But then you get into that thing where, you know, if maybe you say, have you seen the website, yes or no? If it's no, here's the link, click here to check it out.
Yeah, you can't
Although
do
you're
that.
still in Messenger, it doesn't send you completely away, but it does distract you. You know what I mean?
Totally distracting, yeah. See, what I was thinking the other way, without complicating it again, is when you get the ad, you could send them to the, instead of getting them engaged in the chatbot, you could send them to your website and then connect with them there. But I think it's too complicated. So what's the next question?
Yeah, so the next thing is after the products carousel is another qualifying question. It's just like, we're looking to do these shoots in the next 2 to 3 months. We have a few weekend spots, but we need to give priority to families who can be available one day during the week. What would work best for you? So his reasoning for doing this is because families that just can't be bothered or are too crazy busy, you know, you don't want them as a client. You don't want them to constantly be rescheduling. So
why can't you just ask them that the sessions will be done in the next 2 months? Would you prefer a weekend, weekday, or weekend?
Yeah, so that's what it is. There's three options. It says we're flexible, weekends only, or we're crazy.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. And then it goes to, okay, let's have a chat and book you in.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So it says, thanks. From here, we'll make a short list of people to schedule phone calls with. Hoping to get back with you soon.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Make a short list. We'll get back to you soon. And then it comes up instantly. Ah, guess what?
No.
You're one of the chosen. No?
No, it's about a 5-minute delay.
Yeah, no. The way James set up, a 5-minute delay. Yeah, what was the question again? Okay,
It's not a question. It's just, we're going to make a short list. I'll get back to you. I'm hoping to get back to you soon. 5 minutes later, hey, I've got some great news. It seems we're a good match, so I've added you to our short list. I've gotten an overwhelming amount of responses, so I have to do a quick phone call. The next step is to book a call. Click here to book your call.
You know, that really you could do it, but I'm not a big fan. It's all right, but it's, yeah. I mean, how do you feel about it? If you were a client and you've gone through all this, and then you're waiting and wondering, and then 5 minutes later, hey, well done, you're you're a winner. Type of
I guess I'd be pretty excited. I would be a little let down that it's sort of ending. You know, because I'm all excited, and then, I have to wait. But then I'd be happy again. It's like an emotional roller coaster, like heroin or something. It's great.
You think it's that good, do you?
I don't know. Don't you think women kind of like that roller coaster? You know, it's probably a woman that's on this thing, right?
I don't know. Well, not with the Russian ladies. Down an high speed too, though. No roller coaster there, straight to business. I don't know, if you like it, do it. Yeah, do it, but make it 10 minutes.
I can't. The max is 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, if you want to do it that way, if you think that they're on a roller coaster ride, yeah.
I guess the alternative would be to just not say that you're on a short list and just say, congratulations, we like you, book a call. No delay.
Well, why not just say, it all sounds great. I'd love to photograph your family, but first, let's just make it time for a quick phone chat, and we can book you in. In the meantime, have a chat to your husband for a suitable time, for the session. And then just press schedule call at the bottom. I find that gets a little bit lost, that schedule call thing, so you have to point them to it, so to speak. Say, press the schedule call button below.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Gets a bit. So why don't
There's
we?
no other choice. It's just schedule a call or get the hell out.
Yeah, I think do that, Marcus. Let's do that. Let's do families, and let's do that.
All right. Get rid of the delay.
Get rid of the what?
The delay. 5-minute delay.
I think so. Just put enough delay in each of them so it looks as though you're actually talking to a person.
Yeah.
Now, there's one thing missing there, and that's the subscription and opt out. And
yeah. So,
as we were saying, Warren, legally or whatever, they have to have the ability to opt out.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
This guy in the training was saying that you get it out of the way sort of in the beginning, and they've got these pre-defined sort of questions. If you wish to stop chatting, type stop to unsubscribe, whatever. But you could just put that in like plain English. By the way, if you want to stop chatting to me, just stop and I'll go away or something like that.
yeah.
But yeah, he was suggesting at the beginning, when you introduce yourself, hi, I'm Marcus, and I can have some chat. I can have a chat with you and ask you the question. By the way, if you need me to stop, I'll just have to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bernie, I actually edited, so I had 2 flows. I edited the other one. I wasn't looking at that one. So I've actually made a couple of changes, and one of the changes is really important. It's to get their email address.
Yes.
Before they, so I have right after we say, hey, congratulations, we want to book you in or whatever, we want to talk you on the phone. It says, as part of this promotion, we're also including a $200 gift voucher to our studio to use if you choose to purchase any photos. We only have a few of these to give away. Would you like me to send you the voucher?
Yeah.
Obviously, they're probably going to say yes. And then I just say, great, give me your email and I'll send it to you.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I've just watched one come through from James, and what I suggested to him is, this person has said, I'd love to, but unfortunately money is a bit tight currently.
Yeah.
And his response to that, so when they say no, you've got a different response. He said, that's okay, understand you don't want to fall in love with the photos and then be in a position where you want them but can't get them. Totally understandable. Yeah. Hopefully we'll hear from you at some point down the line. And the guy says, we'll stay in touch. And then we ask for their email. What is your email? I'll send you some future promotional offers that way and be able to keep in touch. So we sent the email.
Yeah. So
we're still going to get them on the database. Whenever they say no, we can still collect their email address. We can just say, that's no problem. What's your email address? We'll send you something. You could send them $100 gift voucher, couldn't you? Really, you could send them anything.
Yeah.
Once you got the email address, they're yours.
Yep. Yeah. So, and we spoke about giving them a physical, like a PDF
voucher
or something.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Yeah.
So they'll be subscribed to an autoresponder, email autoresponder, and the first email will be the voucher, and then it'll be, tips and tricks and all that stuff over the next week.
Yeah,
or so.
well, you've got a lot of that stuff, so you may as well drive people to it. Yeah. So does that make sense? Do I make sense, or am I talking bullshit? Like, you're studying these experts, but what we're doing is just qualifying a little bit and getting them a little bit excited. We're giving them prices. We've done all this before via email, haven't we? And it hasn't worked. But it seems to work this way because it's shorter, it's by chat, so it's more personal. And I think we've got to keep it that way, keep it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. People seem to love Messenger.
So far, I'm saying we'll all get sick of it when we start getting everything on Messenger. I get a lot of stuff now.
What do you think about texting? Do you think that's going to be the new Messenger?
We've sort of been there with that. We've done bulk text messages via Burst, and it didn't change the world. I think Messenger's a bit more friendly because people do, I don't know, I was going to say trust Facebook. I wonder, although it's dying. I mean, Facebook is definitely dying, isn't it?
Yeah. Does these bots, do they work on Instagram? Because Facebook owns Instagram. I haven't noticed anything. It's the first experience the last couple of weeks using all this. So.
No, we don't go there. We don't go to Instagram, do we? Instagram's a great unknown. I don't know anyone that's actually done anything effective with it.
Me neither. I'm going to a workshop tomorrow.
So you'll be an expert on that, right?
An expert bullshit, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. I'll let you know how it turns out.
But I'm saying some of these... Yeah, but everybody's an expert. That's the point. But people, they go too deep. And we can't use that. We don't need to use that. We're not talking hundreds of thousands that we're advertising with, and we'd be right into it if we spent 100,000 on a Facebook ad, wouldn't we? We'd want.
I need some stuff to handle the phone calls.
Yeah, well, this is the good, and there are so many steps that we have to do to get these people in now, but Facebook is still a good way to connect. What I learned as well with James, which is interesting, and I'd take this on board. We've said the photograph is one of the important things. So I did a family promotion with him, and I said, we need a great photograph of a family. And he hadn't got one. And he sent one of a little girl, she's about 3 or something, on Mum's shoulder, just a close-up of the girl. On Mum's shoulder. She said, oh, my wife loves this, and, our neighbours love this photo. In fact, it nearly brought them to tears. And I thought, oh, that must be good. So we used that. So it wasn't a family photo. We were looking for families, but the photo wasn't a family photo. So, and I thought, I've been thinking about that a little bit, and I think, yeah, we were trying to show what, what we want, but the photo is there to stop people, right? So we can test without it being of the genre that we're after. as long as it's a stock photo. And the stock photo generally is with a kid, close up of the face, big eyes. You know, where people go, oh, look at that kid, you know, like they used to do with kittens. Oh, look at that little kitty. Just got to stop them. So you might think about that with a promo instead of doing the genre, just putting a really stock photo there.
Oh, I think I missed something because I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, you suck. I'm gonna screenshot this.
Yeah.